A very good morning to all of you. Today's topic, human diversity. This topic is again taken from out of several books written by Maharshi. One of the books that is Sky Yoga for Human Excellence, Volume 3. So from this book, there
Can
is
you
one.
please share your screen?
Oh, okay. I thought I had said. Is it okay, sir? Now?
Still, now it is. Yeah, okay, please
Okay, okay.
continue.
So today's topic, human diversity, is taken from the chapter called Diversity in Men. This is from the book Sky Yoga for Human Excellence, Volume 3. Based on this chapter, today we'll just go through the content of the chapter which was narrated or which has clearly pointed out or tabled out the parameters. What are the differences? We know, yeah, there are many several differences between men, we what we see, or women, human beings. There are differences, but what are the parameters, defined parameters that can be defined for the differences amongst humans? Then understand the reasons behind such differences. Once we know what are the differences, then we understand the reasons behind such differences. And ultimately, we accept all with equanimity. Everything is a form of life energy with uniformity, regularity, and that is the absolute truth. So that is the purpose of going through knowing these differences, the reason for differences, and then go ahead. Okay. There are about 8 plus billion people living on this earth. Everyone differs from another. As we come across different segments in society, whether it is a village or a city or a country or a continent across the world, human beings are different across the region. Across the globe, if we see travel from east to west, for example, we are looking at Japan and comparing going all the way west towards US. People are changing in their heights. They are shorter than average, than tall in height. Then the build also changes, well built. The skin color or skin tone changes from dark to brown to fair. So these are all simple, visible, apparent things. What we see the differences amongst human. Some are ultra rich, some are ultra poor. So for all these things, how to define? Marcy named these as seven values or the differences, what we are parameters we call it, the seven values on which the difference is categorized. So that is the basis. So seven values on which human diversity is defined or can be assessed. First one is physical structure. This we all can see the structures, how people are built, the structure or well built or lean or well built, strong, stout. The thing with these are physical appearances, and accordingly the skin tone also changes. These are a part of the physical structure. Then comes the character. The character, different human civilizations have developed various beliefs. Even when we go centuries before 2000 years, 3000 years, a particular civilization, they developed a certain belief, and from that, a certain characters were passed on. So that's how the character maintained. They change their characters based on their beliefs or perceptions. And there are some which are free thinkers. They don't have any belief or they have not come across with things. They call themselves as free thinkers. So this is how the character makes the people differ in their perceptions, in their behavior, or completely a different human being altogether compared to the other one. Then comes the third one as knowledge. Knowledge, how learned one is, or knowledge for survival, as well as the knowledge to enrich the humanity at large, the society or humanity at large. It is not just the knowledge, the what we read from the books and what we go ahead. Even the old Stone Age people, they had the knowledge or they had developed that intelligence to develop a wheel and then Burroughs wheel. So that's how things move on. Even now we are having people who have developed knowledge which are used for the betterment of the humanity, whether it is scientific knowledge or philosophical knowledge. So this is how the knowledge makes a person different. A learned one is one which is behaving differently compared to the one which is who is ignorant. So that is how knowledge is a parameter which makes the things different. Then comes the fame. There are various people who have reached or gained fame, but some are not, even though many are in the same positions or they have gone through even more achievements. Still, some get fame, some do not get fame. The fame is again a parameter which makes them different from others. If for just simple example, if we say the prime ministers of India, we immediately we recall yes 2 or 3 names or 4 names which are famous. There are many. Or say we president of USA, former presidents of USA. We call just 3 or 4, but there are 45 plus presidents, but we don't recall or all are not famous. So that's how the fame is again a different perception or a parameter which makes people different. So this is how a or a scientist. So there are various people who developed scientific things. Scientist means we typically recall 3 or 4 names. We don't remember the people who have even contributed to a larger extent. For example, who developed mouse or USB? We don't know. But there are people who are famous. They have gained it. So fame is again a parameter. This is again one of the values which makes people different. The other one is physical strength. This is again somewhat related to the physical structure. Physical strength, yes, some people have more strength, some people have lesser strength. That is based on the certain races or people in some specific regions. They have developed the ability or from they have inherited the strength, physical strength from the inheritance. They are recognized for their physical strength. Some are generally not. If I am asked to run for a mile, I may not because my physical strengths do not. Whereas there are people who have well built and people from the high altitude people, they have a high stamina. Their lungs power is more. They have a high physical strength. They can run for miles together at a stretch. So that is how the physical strength is again a parameter or a value which makes people differ on their performance or on their things. People are considered different in terms of their physical strength. Indian Army, even the people are certain people, certain segment. If I say Gorkha, they are shorter in height. They have relaxation. Even they are just 5 feet, 5 feet. They are allowed to be recruited because of their physical strength. So certain races from their certain regions, they have a physical strength which makes them different from others. The other factor or other value is comfort. Comfort is again another factor which human beings always keep on trying to expand their comfort levels. Every moment, every day, one thinks of making life comfort or adding comfort to one's life. Even the old Stone Age man who wanted to invent a wheel, he thought instead of carrying all the things, which is by inventing a wheel, it becomes easy to carry on, move on. So that's how the comfort factors were added with the with the comfort in the mind. Things were added. Even the current day people, the comfort specifications is also changing. So we select devices which are comfortable to use. TV without a remote control was considered not comfortable in the earlier days. Later on, TV with the remote control came for the comfort. Now there is nothing, no question of having or not having a remote control on the TV. It is part of the requirement standard. So that's how the comfort defines or makes a person different from others. Earlier days, we were walking to the school. That was considered comfort. It's absolutely no problem, no complaints. But the comfort things changed. Now the modes of transportation reaching to the school is no more walking. It has changed to different modes because of adding comfort to individual. This is the individual comfort point of view. Even the comfort thing has changed to such a level that we select friends who are comfortable to move around. Our friend selection, everyone is not a friend. Even in the college, we have students of say 200 in a class, or in a organization, we have several thousands of employees. We don't feel comfortable to move around with all. There is comfort factor which is taken even for selecting a friend. Even to the on the darker side, people get separated if they are not comfortable with their parents or partner. So comfort is another value which makes them different from others. Then the seventh value which makes or which is that defines the human diversity is the aspect of wealth. There are people who are extremely poor. They struggle for their survival. They are dependent on other people who are generous, and they donate or they do acts of charity. And there are people who are extremely rich. The law of 80-20, 20% of the wealth of the world wealth lies with 80% of the world wealth lies with 20% of the people, and 20% of the world wealth lies with the rest 80% of the people. That's what the typical law of 80-20 applies in many places, whether it is wealth or it is originally it started with the land. People, 80% of the land was possession, under possession by 20% of the people. So same that similar thing, the law of 80-20 applies to many of the places. But okay, this is again wealth makes people different. Different people have a different levels of wealth. That's how they are different. So these are the seven values: physical structure, character, knowledge, fame, physical strength, comfort, and wealth. These, now we know what are the factors which make human different. Now the question is why? Why are these characters causing, why are these values seen? We measured this value, yes, there is a difference in physical structure, but what are the reasons behind these seven values making difference in human beings? The number of regions are 16. The 16 regions, a comprehensive list of 16 regions have been highlighted by Marcy. Any one or more from the 16 regions are responsible for the differences in humans. Let us go through each region one by one. Number one is heredity. In the planet Earth, about 8 plus billion people are living. Everyone is unique. Even twins differ in their qualities. Children born to same parents are also different. There is Swamiji Maharshi gives the example of simple fruits. Fruits from a same tree do not taste the same. Even the fruits look alike, they do not taste the same way. There are various regions like different positions of astrological bodies, associated cosmic rays, physical, mental health of parents. So there are various regions which make the offspring different from the others. The most important thing is body is the product of sin imprints. So even though from the same imprints, the same chromosomes, the same DNA that is being there, when we do DNA patterns also, DNA pattern is almost similar, but there will be some component which is making the person different from the sibling. So what is that? So in terms of philosophy, it is the product of sin imprint. It is not just the parent or grandparent, just two levels or three levels or four levels. Several generations are responsible who contribute their imprint to the progeny. Imprints, that remain dormant at certain ages or certain generations can become active or get triggered with a right time or with the right conditions. So, like a seed which preserves imprints for future trees so that it carries fruits and all the things. Accordingly, the human genetic center, that is the storehouse, which contains entire information of quality of an individual. Genes, we have the science, developed science, which can analyze or we can explore the genetical factors which are responsible, some genes which can be isolated, which are not required or having harmful effects. So all this can be understood by scientific instruments or can be measured by scientific instruments. But in the case of genetic center, it can only be perceived. It can be understood by the sixth sense, that is, with the help of meditation. So, genetic center cannot be seen or analyzed with the help of science. For that, we have to go with the philosophical approach for meditation and introspection. So, this is the factor, reason, heredity, which makes people different. Now, coming to the second reason, what makes people different? Food. The most important thing for life to survive and grow is food. Life force is sourced from the intake of food. What food we take, the life energy is getting generated or regenerated or getting maintained with the help of the food. Food ultimately, with all seven stages, transforms into various components in the body, and that gives the physical, mental growth for the body. During the process of conversion of food to seven stages, the last one is the sexual vital fluid or SVF. That is the storehouse of life force energy. Based on this, the type of food, the varies or there will be a change or variation in the life energy that is being produced or converted into life energy, the food that gets converted into life energy. This is the first and foremost thing. Second thing, based on the nature of the food, the other factors, which the induced factors from the food, that dictate the body or make changes in the body or habits or the behavior. Based on this, the nature or based on the response of the reaction or the effect of these food types of food, old saints have classified this into sattvika, rajasika, tamasika. Marcy has simplified the food intake that is described in detail by Kayakalpa. Following Kayakalpa, you follow things of Kayakalpa in taking your food, follow the limits and method that takes care of the food intake, that maintains the right balance in the life energy. Kayakalpa describes complete do's and don'ts. This is an aspect where food habits result in deciding the quality of individual. So again, this food habit also comes from a inheritance. I have an example of a friend of mine who is from Andhra. His wife is from Uttar Pradesh. They stay here in after moving to Qatar. She prepares only chapati or roti kind of thing, wheat, no rice. She completely doesn't like or doesn't. She hates curd rice, especially. Their daughter, she has never taken curd rice in their house, but whenever she goes out, she eats only curd rice. She doesn't eat anything else. So the inheritance is again a key role, genetic factor, which plays the selection of food or the liking of food. So this is again part of linked to the imprints which are there. So this is just an example I thought from the real life. Okay, so after this, we go to the third region. This is historical age. When we go through the history or philanthropy, we see that anthropology, the shape of man has taken from an ape, and it has passed through several centuries, several generations. The man has changed to different, through different ages. People have transformed or changed into different shapes, different behaviors, or different perceptions, their thought process, their brains, intellectuals, everything has changed when we see. This is just a mimic of the picture what we are seeing, the how the structure backbone from erect it has turned into back, and from the computer age a person is sitting on the chair, and this is just a kind of a critic one. But I just wanted to tell, yes, historical ages, the old stone age, then the new stone age, then the research and development age, computer age. Now it is the AI age. Everywhere people talk about artificial intelligence. People are being replaced with artificial intelligence or computer knowledge. So this is the age of artificial intelligence. Centuries ago, sages or saints, they had memorized all those slokas, verses, Vedas, and they were remembering everything. They were not having any hard disk or memory to keep things stored. And those things were transferred to others verbally. They used to just preach, go on listening. People, the students or disciples, they were learning those things. So their human brains were competent enough to do complex or store complex data. They were even capable of doing complex astronomical calculations. That's how the age was there. With the pass of the age, with the comfort, with the developments, inventions, research, we have developed ability to use calculators, computers, even for simple calculations. We do complex calculations, but the human brain has changed. So the generations wise, the differences will take place and differences go on happening. That is the effect of historical age. The current age, people have a different perception, different behavior compared to few years or centuries ago. So that's how the historical age matters. Then the another reason is country and ecology. If we see just a map of world, there are various places. The ecology is different. The greener ones having a good agricultural field, the other ones are deserts, some are semi-arid lands. So this is how the completely there is a ecological across the globe, there are differences in ecology. Some are completely snow-filled fields across Alaska or Greenland or in the Antarctica. So there are various changes in the ecology when we see in the Earth structure. Some lands or some countries have resources. Some, based on the resources, some have the different environmental conditions which are conducive for comfortable living or growing agriculture. That in turn affects the physical appearance. Food habits of the people also changes. These food habits again get imprinted in the genetic center. For example, people from the Indus Valley, they had grown up with the complete greenery, the rivers, and they had grown food, the produce rice, wheat, those things that have become a part of the thing. The other people from the desert region, they were not having those things. But it's not the problem with the land. Land is suitable for even producing dates or sweet fruit. So it's the person, they have adapted to that. If milk is available, people go for milk tea. People, milk is not available, they go for the Suleimani kind of thing. So ecology makes a big difference in the part of the habits. Even we take just within our country, the people from North India, the wheat production is major. That's the majority of the people they, or it is a, based on the resources, wheat grows better. Wheat is taken as their staple food, wheat or wheat flour. Everything is made up out of wheat or wheat flour, atta. Whereas when we just come down south, everything is made up of rice or rice flour, because rice is predominantly grown based on the ecology of the area or the region. Rice is grown better. That's how they are habituated to take that food that becomes genetically, or that is imprinted in their food habits, imprinted in the genetic center. That's the earlier example what I gave. The girl is having fascination for uh, rice. So this is how a country's ecology and a country's inheritance makes difference amongst people. Fifth, reasoning, education. Education here, Maharshi is very clear, not just academic education. Maharshi means education captured under two categories, cultural as well as academic. Under academic education, people learn languages, that is to communicate between people, basic knowledge on science, maths, literature, and additional skill set people acquire for their earning, for their survival. They get educated. But the other form of education, what we mean here, the cultural education, this is very important, and this is imbibed from elders in the family, like parents, grandparents. That is how the concept was. People pass on, grandparents, they pass on their information to their grandchildren, or their learnings. These are the do's, these are the don'ts. That's how it used to be there in the earlier tradition. Or scholars who are in the family, they pass on the cultural knowledge to members of the family. Society, in the larger scale society, that is how mass gatherings were conducted for some events, celebrations. In those events or celebrations, the idea was to convey the key cultural knowledge to people at large. Society can change according to the circumstances and requirements. That's how the changes take place, even though the knowledge is gained through years of experience that has to be shared with people and family so that it gets passed on. For example, certain things to be eaten during summer. In a rainy season, some leafy vegetables not to be eaten. These were some of the key small things which were passed on. Even sages, from their earlier knowledge they had acquired or they had cultivated, they had a perception, they had a clear knowledge that these celestial bodies have some effect on human beings. So they had done all the astrological calculations, how the effect of the celestial body on this human being will be, at what position or what angle. So there were multiple celestial bodies they had evaluated or calculated. That's how the knowledge they had. And that knowledge was passed on to many people. And some people have the knowledge of treating problems or health, medical science knowledge, Ayurveda. From the plants there are beneficial things which can be healing or helping ailing persons. Tulsi, so keep a tulsi plant to get the benefits, or that will be a kind of ready medicine at any point of need. So that was the perception, they had the knowledge that was passed on. But things sometimes get miscommunicated, or in the process of communication or generation, knowledge transfer through generations, the key objective is sometimes missed out, or it is not realized. The knowledge is not passed on. However, the practice is continued. Everyone will plant a tree in front of their house or in the backyard. So that's how the knowledge is passed on from generations. This is the cultural knowledge. And academic knowledge is the knowledge what we gain through our academics, through the school, college, and through our professional educations. The sixth one is work. Everyone must work for survival. Based on the nature of work, whether it is, sometimes some works are physical in nature, some are more mental in nature, like the ones currently people are going for all IT or AI or computer jobs. These are more of mental in work, or involves their brain levels, their desk jobs. These are the kinds which involves which are not involving any physical activities. But the persons who are involved with the physical activities or physical workers which are working in the field, or they are who is doing the labor work and construction work, these are all completely different structure, or their muscular buildup will be different. Their food habit will be different. Because of the energy they consume, they need more intake of energy. So body structure, their food habits. So these are the things differ from regions for difference of human beings. The seventh reasoning is policy of the government. Rules and laws are designed for maintaining harmony within a society. Whether it's a small city or a state or a country, the local governance, they have defined certain rules, that is to maintain harmony, implementation of the laws that is done by the government. This government are various forms of government, could be democratic, communism, or monarchy, or dictator. But whatever may be the form of the government, this government or the ruling body, they define certain laws or rules. So based on the laws or the rules of that country or by that government where the human beings are living, they are exposed, or they face certain policies. So for example, we are seeing the tax policies or the tariff impact, or the income on wealth, everything will get impacted. The moment we say there is a change in tariff, things, people get impacted, or the wealth, income level, savings level, those things get changed. Certain policies on health wealth policies, it affects or it changes. The social welfare policies are defined by government bodies. Certain places, social welfare policies are extremely helpful for the citizens. In certain states, certain places, or certain countries, social welfare policies are not so and friendly. So they have to make their own savings or arrangements for their healthcare system. So these are all several rules and regulations, or even the environmental regulations. And certain places, it is so beautiful, the air is so clean, environmental policies are so good, people feel good to stay there. Certain places, the environment policies are not so stringent. So that's how it makes difference in the lifestyle of the people. Okay. So after the environment, government policy, the other one is art. Human creative skills or ability to express for the benefit of others. That is the definition of art. Creative skills or ability to express for the benefit of others. So there are actually in our traditional ancient literatures, Indian literatures, it is told, it is written as 64 forms of art. However, we'll just go through quickly the different abilities of art, and based on the art form, the mental, physical qualities, characters get changed. That is the key message here. For example, as a painter, painter has the ability of high concentration because of his painting skills. Generally, their concentration power is very high. Or a poet they have the art of getting selecting thought-provoking topics, or writing poems with selection of impactful words. They have, that's a special art. With that selection of words, they convey a thoughtful message to society, or to the readers of the poem or poetry. So this is again another different form of art. So those persons, they have a different built up, their abilities, creative skills are different. Musicians, dancers, or actors, all with the different forms of art, they differ in their personality. They're dancers, they have a different set of body, they have a very high flexibility. Some they don't. Or musicians, the one playing a guitar, they have a very precision. Or a person playing a violin, their brain or their responses are considered to be faster or better, superior compared to others. Now coming to the practitioners of art of Manavalakkalai, or the sky practitioner. This is again another form of art. Sky practitioners, we differ in our thoughts from others, in our words from others, in our deeds from others. So, this is again sky practitioners. This form of art makes different from those who are not practicing. So, that is a form of art, is another reason for making differences amongst human beings. Efforts. To achieve a goal, one must put in efforts. Accomplishing a task by spending his physical or mental energy and abilities, that is the definition for effort. People make efforts based on their needs and abilities. That is the key driver. If needs and is not there, effort will not be there. And after the need, abilities. So with that, they put in the efforts. All the creations of the nature, even animals, make efforts for their survival. Even a tiger has to put in efforts to get the hunt. Okay, scientists have reported from our geological uh, findings, long growth of neck of giraffe, that is based on the efforts of several generations to reach leaves. On the bottom they were grazing grass. When grass is over on the plateau field, they have to go to the higher taller plants. So that's how the neck of giraffe has got elongated. That's how the geological evidences are there. Human efforts are far reaching, from the invention of the wheel from the old Stone Age to this space travel. Everyone is making an effort to go higher or reach better, comfortable levels. Whatever the needs are defined, but efforts are there by human beings. These efforts make them different. Based on the human efforts, they differ in their character, in their position and status in the society. There were four people, friends from the college, and with their different efforts, they are now at different places. So it's not just the same thing. The persons who have made in efforts, some are here, some are in US, some are in India. So based on the efforts, even the student pass out from same batch or same position, they reach different positions in their careers based on their efforts. This is just an example from our real life observations. After efforts, the 10th reasoning is physical age. The one we covered earlier was the historical age. This is physical age. Age is the one from the birth, how old he is or how old she is, the person's age. It is obvious that from a different age group, physical and mental abilities differ. Boy or a small child or an infant and an old man, they have some complete differences, and youth. So that is how, based on the abilities, based on the age group, the abilities differ, and that is how there are certain ages for which they don't have the rights to considered as an adult. So, for example, in some countries they say 18. After 18, they are entitled or eligible to have the decision making for selection or election of a governing body. Or up to the age of 60, a person is allowed to work. After that, his abilities or his services are no more warranted or no more wanted by the company. So this is how that defines the retirement age. So the age group, physical age, is very clear. People, they have abilities differing based on their age groups, and with that abilities they can achieve their efforts. However, physical age will have its own limitations. 11th reasoning is friendship. Friendship, when we say, it's kind of a priceless commodity. Friendship can make a person or break a person. A person with vices can take his friend to follow his path. Who has a habit of any particular negative thing, addiction, his friends will get a instigation or get inspired to go along with him. He can break a person. Similarly, a person can, a practitioner of a sky, for example, a sky practitioner, his friends, they will be motivated, guided to follow Vedatrium. And at the end, they will attain a blissful life. So, friendship can make differences as a part of human beings. So friendship is definitely, most of the people, they have friends of one form of other. However, the type of friendship will make them different. That's how a common saying is that man is known by company he keeps. So the friendship is again a factor which makes people different. 12th one is opportunity. Opportunity, it plays very important role in achievement of glory, wealth, prosperity of a person, right place, the right movement as the opportunity clicks. That is based on his actions. The karma, the law of karma, when actions are recorded, and accordingly, the opportunity also appears only for those who are destined. So it's not that even with the same education, same intellectual level, or even higher intellectual levels, people sometimes do not achieve, do not get what they deserve. So that's kind of opportunity. So sometimes opportunity is at the opportunity is given, but it could not be availed because of other constraints. So that's how opportunity makes people different. That's how I was telling earlier in one of the same examples. Some people got opportunity to work in certain organizations. Some people, they were deprived of working in their desired organizations. So that's or desired profession or even desired education. One wanted to become a doctor. He could not get a doctor, even though he had certain qualifications. He got good rank, but there were some other conditions. So the opportunity is again will make a person different from others. Then the 13th one is research. What is research? When we say research, it is a kind of systematic approach to establish facts, to reach new conclusions. So, new conclusions are arrived by systematic approach of establishing facts. So, Marcy puts it simple, three words: information, confirmation, transformation. For the essential for the growth of knowledge, one has to grow higher and higher in knowledge. In that process, he has to go through information. Then, whatever he has got the information, that has to be confirmed and that has to be transformed. Scientific or philosophical truth from scholars, what we listen or get information, get the knowledge from scholars, is the information. That has to be analyzed to authenticate, that is confirmation. And after realizing the truth, that is both information and confirmation, the change that takes place, that is transformation. So that is how the research has got implemented. That is called transformation. Even though the information confirmation is accessible to all, but the transformation takes place in only few people or some people. So that is how those who got themselves transformed are different from others. Those who got only the information, or those who got information, they have confirmed also, but they have not transformed themselves. So all these stages make people different. So that is how the research part of reasoning makes people different. Number 14th reasoning is habits. This habits is nothing but the imprints, result of imprints that is based on the or guided by the sensory perceptions. Habits continue to dominate as long as individual is continuing to change or not, no, continuing to the same his old ways or old habits. Bad habits should be replaced with good one. It is not easy to overcome a habit. It's simple. It's easy to say that okay, well, should be changed or replaced, but a disciplined approach has to be followed. Those who succeed in realizing or transforming themselves, they come up with their good habits or new habits. But habits will come continuously through the inheritance or through heredity or through genetical factor that gets passed on. So that has to be, with a disciplined approach, that has to be altered or changed. Once changed, then the change will get implemented and it will continue for next generation. So that is how the habit is governed by our sensory perceptions. Then the 15th one is customs. Customs or traditions, what we follow. So that's the part of customs category or feelings of the society. The norms which are set in the society, that's kind of custom. When we say custom, it's a kind of norms that has been set in the country or in that region or in that state. That's so even if in a small region in any particular state, they have a particular tradition or particular custom. So that is how it makes people different from others. Different regions have different traditions. For example, simple example, in our tradition, elders and seniors are addressed respectfully. In if you say anywhere in India, they have that they address sir or madam, a senior person or a aged person like me. Suppose I am at such an age, my younger colleagues, they will not call me by name. They just address it or even if they call by name, at the end they add g or sir or something. They don't call by name. Whereas in western part of the world, even a one who is just my colleague, who is just aged 30 years, he will say, hi Mr. Surya, how are you? So that's what the accent or that's what the custom they have. Even they don't mind calling the CEO, hey Sundar, how do you do? So that's the tradition and that's the custom. They don't mind. So whereas here in this part of the world is we are used to, even though we have the perception, but when we come here, we do not feel any odd. If we consider that by knowing the region or reasoning, yes, they are from this region, they have this custom, we don't mind. Okay, say, how do you do? Okay, yeah, how do you, hi, John. He says me Surya. I say John. That's all. Even though he is a senior person, we don't bother to, or we don't have that perception. So that is again why what I was trying to say, the custom makes people different. Parents are treated as heads of family and respected by their children, the grandchildren, the joint family concept. So these are all customs or traditions certain countries have. Whereas in certain part of the countries, they do not have that custom. They are all the ones, the children, they age, get certain age, they are matured enough, they live their own life. So that's how they have the custom. Even certain traditions, women, married women, they have a certain mark or indications showing that they are married. In certain parts of the world, there is no such difference. They do not know. Even in the northern India, southern India, they have different perceptions or different customs to indicate the status of the marital status of a lady. So they have different customs. So the overall, the custom is again a factor or a reason based on their traditions, which basically it is passed on from traditions. It is not having any other reason based on their inheritance. The wise people or their elderly people, scholarly people, whatever they have told them, they practice with that habits. So that is the kind of custom that or tradition that has been set. That is how that makes them different from others or other region, peoples of other region. The last reasoning is the one, moral behavior. This is the 16th one, which makes people different from others. Morality, we all come across morality several times during our classes. Morality is not causing harm to others physically or mentally, now or later, through thoughts, words, or deeds. This is what, in simple sentences, moral behavior can be explained by, that has been explained by Maharshi. Leading a virtuous life without causing harm to all living beings. Why this is? This is required for maintaining a harmonious existence all across the society. So those who have the moral values, they will behave differently. Their beliefs are different. Their perceptions are different. That will lead to a different behavior. So, for example, morality aspect, some avoid cruelty to animals and follow vegan life. Some have different acceptance, they follow vegetarian life. Some do even sacrifice to animals. So these are all perceptions or morality that has been passed on, or moral behavior, how they behave. It depends on their ethical or moral values. This makes the 16th reasoning. Altogether, when we summarize, people differ on 16, on account of 16 regions, and these differences are categorized as seven differences in values, or seven aspects are different due to 16 regions. Differences in imprints in genetic center, that is part of the that being body being a product of sin imprints that gets retained in the genetic center. The other aspects like a cosmic rays from millions of celestial bodies, these are also factors which make a difference in human beings. Now, the changes in seven values and 16 regions have been understood, or we have gone through that. So when this is realized, why do we, or what's the purpose of going through this, understanding the reasonings, or knowing the differences? By knowing the differences, it will give it, we will feel okay, we are not bothered about the difference. It helps in improving our acceptance and tolerance. This is the key thing. For example, the one what we earlier just we discussed an example. If someone calls me Surya, is even a younger boy, I don't mind in western part of the world, because that is the custom. I know the reason, it is from the custom. So because of the reasoning, knowing of my reasoning, my acceptance has come up. Similarly, for all those differences amongst human, the different behaviors, their moral or ethical, the cultural, the food. So when we know their reasoning, it gives us more acceptance and more tolerance to accept the differences. But Marcy says one should not stop putting in efforts just in the name of having a hereditary. I'm not I'm just going to continue, or I'm like this, I will continue, this is my genetical inheritance. No, that's not the reasoning. The efforts must be put in to uh, reach the seven desired values. If one person is a short height, you should not say that, okay, I am having a genetical inheritance and I am short, I am like this. No, he can try, put in some efforts. The height can go a few inches. So the consequences of all actions are stored in the imprints and passed on to the next generations. The Sanchita Karma, a person with good deeds and good acts, good moral behavior, that will be passed on. So at the end, the summary is one must be aware of the laws of nature, the principles of cause and effect. Realizing and respecting nature is the God worship. So far, we talked about diversity. When we say opposite of diversity is uniformity or homogeneity, regularity. Law of nature displays uniformity, homogeneity, regularity, the static state that is present everywhere. The life energy particles distributed homogeneously all across the universe and beyond. All the creations of nature, they maintain precision, pattern, and regularity. The differences will help us knowing, developing acceptance, tolerance, and sacrifice. But the awareness, the knowledge, and understanding the implementation of knowledge in real life, that makes a person successful. For this, one has to go through the principles of meditation, increase the awareness, then understand the principles of cause and effect, then do the moral acts, acts of morality, duty, and charity. All these things can be possible only with constant awareness. Don't cause any pain to anybody, even in thought, words, or deeds. Try to remove the pain of others. That is a simple act of morality. So, with this, I conclude my talk. Be blessed by the